While checking IDs, someone handed me a Costco card and swore it should work. I work security at Velvet nightclub downtown. Been checking IDs at the door for 3 years now. You see everything in this job. Fake IDs with terrible photo editing, expired licenses from people who forgot their birthday, drunk college kids trying to bribe you with crumpled 20s they found in their car. But last Tuesday night was completely different. Around 11 p.m., this guy Blake walks up to the velvet rope, maybe early 20s, nervous energy, shifting from foot to foot like he needed to use the bathroom. He reaches into his leather wallet and hands me a Costco membership card with complete confidence, like this was the most normal thing in the world. When I laugh and tell him I need real identification, he gets genuinely confused and insists that should work fine. He pulls out his phone and shows me some kind of app with a QR code, saying his friend Devin told him this was the new system we started using. I've never seen anything like it, but the app looked official, complete with our club's logo and everything. I tell him absolutely no way, and he leaves looking frustrated, muttering about wasting money on some setup fee. 20 minutes later, a girl named Tessa tries the exact same thing. Different Costco card, same confused reaction when I refuse it, same phone app with a QR code. She also mentions Devin and asks if the new system is down tonight. 2 people with the same weird story seemed like way more than coincidence. I started paying closer attention to IDs after that incident. Over the next week, I noticed more strange patterns developing. People showing me Target gift cards, library cards, gym memberships, even a Starbucks rewards card, all with that same confident expectation that it should work. They all mentioned someone named Devin and referenced this mysterious new system that supposedly existed. My manager Rico said he'd never heard of any system changes or anyone named Devin working with our club, but he told me to keep an eye out and document everything I saw. The people trying these fake IDs weren't typical scammers either. They were young, well-dressed, looked like college kids who wouldn't normally need fake identification to get into places. Friday night, I decided to play along when the next person tried it. A nervous-looking guy handed me a Barnes & Noble membership card, and instead of refusing it immediately, I asked him about the setup fee Blake had mentioned earlier. His face lit up and he started explaining how Devin had recruited him through some college app. He said they were part of a trial program for new ID verification technology, and participants got paid $50 each time they tested it at different venues around the city. Devin had given him a list of places to try, including our club, and told him to act natural if the door staff seemed confused about the process. I asked where they met Devin for these transactions, and he said it was always at different coffee shops around campus. Cash payments only. No real names exchanged, just instructions and addresses. He showed me his list, and I recognized every venue on it. All high-end establishments, all places where security might be less thorough than at government buildings or airports. When I asked what happened if the card actually worked, his expression changed completely. He said Devin told them never to go inside if the card was accepted, just to text a confirmation number and leave immediately. That's when I realized we weren't dealing with fake ID testing at all. These kids were unknowingly mapping security vulnerabilities for someone planning something much bigger. I pulled out my phone to call the police, but that's when I saw Blake walking up to the door again. Except this time he wasn't alone, and what I saw in his hands made me realize exactly what Devin was really planning. Blake is back at the entrance, and he's not alone. Next to him stands a tall guy with a scraggly beard wearing a baseball cap pulled low. But what freezes my blood is the device in Blake's hand, something that looks like a modified smartphone with an extra antenna and a small blinking light. It's not just any phone, it's a scanner of some kind. Rico, I whisper urgently into my security radio, keeping my eyes locked on Blake. That guy from earlier with the Costco card is back with someone else. They've got some kind of electronic device. I think they're scanning our entrance. Rico's voice crackles back immediately. Don't engage. Keep eyes on them. I'm checking the cameras now. Blake and his companion don't approach the main entrance this time. Instead, they casually stroll toward the side alley, where our emergency exit is located. I signal to Marco, the other door guy, to take my post and follow at a safe distance, trying to blend with the line of people waiting to get in. Through my earpiece, Rico's voice is tense. I see them on camera 3. They're definitely testing something on the emergency exit door. The device is lighting up when they hold it near the electronic lock. Should I confront them? I ask, ducking behind a parked car as Blake glances over his shoulder. Negative. I'm calling the police now. Just keep visual contact if you can do it safely. I watch as Blake holds the device against the emergency exit's card reader. The small light on the scanner flashes green, and he quickly pulls out his phone to text someone. His partner keeps lookout, scanning the alley nervously. They're not trying to enter just like the kid with the Barnes & Noble card said. They're confirming vulnerability and reporting back. After a minute, they abandon the emergency exit and move quickly toward the street. I follow at a distance, staying in the shadows. They cross the main road and enter the multi-level parking garage directly across from Velvet. I hang back near the entrance, watching as they climb to the second level. They've gone into the parking garage across the street. I update Rico. Second level. Police are 5 minutes out. Be careful. I take the stairs instead of the ramp, emerging on the second level in time to see Blake and his friend approach a black Audi parked in the far corner. A man leans against the hood, his face illuminated by the blue glow of a laptop screen. Even from this distance, I can tell this isn't some college kid. He's older, maybe mid-30s, wearing a tailored blazer over a black t-shirt, professional, confident. This has to be Devin. I duck behind a concrete pillar and pull out my phone, switching to camera mode. I snap several photos as Blake hands over the scanning device. Devin connects it to his laptop with a cable, his fingers flying over the keyboard. The screen changes, displaying what looks like a blueprint or floor plan. I zoom in with my camera but can't make out the details. Data transfer complete, Devin says, his voice carrying in the quiet garage. Good work. Same time tomorrow, different location. He hands Blake an envelope payment, presumably, and takes the scanner back, slipping it into a padded case with several other similar devices. Blake and his friend leave first, heading toward a beat-up Honda parked on the same level. Devin continues working on his laptop for another minute before packing everything into a sleek messenger bag. I hear sirens in the distance, and Devin's head snaps up. He quickly closes his laptop, slides into the Audi, and drives down the exit ramp. I manage to get a clear shot of his license plate before he disappears. The police arrive just as I'm heading back to Velvet. 2 patrol cars pull up with lights flashing, but no sirens. Officer Martinez, I recognize her from previous incidents at the club, approaches me as Rico comes out to meet us. They're gone, I tell them, showing the photos on my phone, but I got pictures of everything. The guy with the Costco card, the scanner device, and the man they met, I think that's Devin. Martinez scrolls through my photos, her expression growing more serious with each swipe. When she gets to the license plate shot, she radios it in immediately. We've been tracking similar incidents at 4 other high-end venues across the city, she explains. Scanner devices testing security systems, always using college kids as the front line. Your photos are the first clear images we have of the operation. Rico looks at me with newfound respect. Good work following them. The scanner, Martinez says, zooming in on my photo. It's designed to read and clone security credentials. Based on what you've described with the different cards they've been testing, they're mapping which card formats can bypass which security systems. But why? I ask. What's the endgame? Martinez's face is grim as she hands back my phone. That's what we need to find out, and fast. Because whatever they're planning, Velvet isn't the target, it's just the practice run. She asks me to come down to the station tomorrow to give a formal statement, and I agree. As she walks back to her patrol car, Rico puts a hand on my shoulder. You handled this perfectly, he says, but I have a feeling we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg here. I nod, looking back toward the parking garage where Devin had been just minutes ago. The casual confidence in his posture, the professional equipment, the organized operation using college kids as pawns, this was no amateur scheme. Devin wasn't just some guy helping kids get into clubs. He was mapping security vulnerabilities systematically, and I had a sinking feeling that nightclubs were just the beginning. Officer Martinez leans against the wall of the break room at the police station, her eyes fixed on the photos I'd taken the night before. She spread them across the table like pieces of a puzzle. What you stumbled onto isn't just about fake IDs to get into clubs, she says, tapping the clearest image of Devin. This crew is systematically mapping security vulnerabilities across the city. The nightclubs are just their training grounds. I take a sip of the terrible station coffee. Training? For what exactly? That's what we need to find out. She slides one photo closer to me, the shot of Devin's laptop screen showing what looked like a blueprint. See how the layout resembles a floor plan? They're creating digital maps of security systems, cataloging which card formats work where. Back at Velvet that night, I can't stop thinking about Martinez's words. While checking IDs, I pull Rico aside and explain everything in detail. I need to track this, I tell him. Every single weird ID attempt we've had. Rico nods. Do it. I want to know how deep this goes. After my shift, I stay late, combing through our incident reports and creating a spreadsheet of every non-standard ID attempt from the past month. The pattern is undeniable. 23 attempts using various cards, Costco memberships, Target gift cards, library cards, gym memberships, and Starbucks rewards cards. Always college-aged kids, always leaving immediately after being rejected or accepted. Jesus, Rico whispers, looking over my shoulder at the completed spreadsheet. And this is just our club. The next morning, Rico arrives with 4 tiny wireless cameras. I borrowed these from my buddy in corporate security, he explains as we install them at strategic points, one above each entrance, including the employee door and emergency exit. Let's see what these kids are really doing when they scan. We don't have to wait long. That very night, I spot Tessa in line, her blonde hair now streaked with blue. She doesn't approach the main entrance this time. Instead, she circles around to the employee entrance at the back of the building. I radio Rico and follow at a distance. From my position behind a dumpster, I watch as she pulls something from her purse, not a Costco card this time, but the distinctive green of a Starbucks rewards card. She holds it against the employee door's card reader for exactly 5 seconds, then quickly takes a photo of the door with her phone before walking away, typing something as she goes. Got all that? I ask Rico through my earpiece. Crystal clear on camera too, he confirms. She's testing a different entry point with a different card type. Over the next week, we document 12 more attempts at various entry points around Velvet. Different kids, different cards, but always the same pattern. Hold, scan, photograph, leave. Rico and I spend hours reviewing the footage, noticing how they hold the cards at specific angles, sometimes running what looks like a thin piece of metal along the card reader's edge. They're not just testing if the cards work, Rico says, pausing one video that shows a lanky guy in glasses holding what appears to be a modified Target gift card. Look at how he's scanning the whole mechanism, not just swiping. They're collecting data on the readers themselves. I forward all our findings to Officer Martinez, who calls me the next morning. You've done excellent work, she says, her voice tense with urgency. We've confirmed similar patterns at 5 more clubs downtown. This is bigger than we thought. What's the next step? I ask. We're setting up a sting. I need your help coordinating with Rico. We're sending in an undercover officer as a patron tomorrow night. The next evening, a woman in her mid-20s with a nose ring and tattoo sleeve enters Velvet. She looks like any other patron, but Rico discreetly points her out as Officer Chen, working undercover. She positions herself near the emergency exit, sipping a drink and looking bored, while actually monitoring the door. Around 1 a.m., a guy wearing a university hoodie approaches the emergency exit, pulling out what looks like a gym membership card. Before he can place it against the reader, Officer Chen accidentally bumps into him, spilling her drink. "Oh my god, I'm so sorry," she exclaims, making a show of helping him clean up while subtly checking his pockets. I watch from nearby as she signals to the plainclothes officers stationed around the club. The guy panics, ditching whatever device he was carrying into a trash can before bolting toward the main entrance. 2 officers intercept him before he reaches the door. Later that night, Martinez shows me what they recovered: a sophisticated card reader disguised as a smartphone case, capable of cloning security credentials. The kid talked, Martinez tells me. Devon's operation is expanding to 5 more clubs downtown, but that's not what worries me. She pulls out a map of the city with red dots, marking various locations, nightclubs, office buildings, and what appears to be government facilities. "These clubs are just practice runs," she says grimly. "The real targets are much bigger, and we need to stop them before they get there." I stare at the map, the red dots forming a pattern across downtown, and realize I'm now in the middle of something far more dangerous than fake IDs at a nightclub door. Whatever Devon is planning, Velvet is just the beginning. "What do you need me to do?" I ask. Martinez's expression is deadly serious. "We need someone on the inside, someone they haven't seen before." Martinez calls me the next morning after I've finished my shift. The exhaustion of working security all night evaporates when she explains what she needs. "We need someone on the inside," she says, her voice tight with urgency. "Someone they haven't seen before, someone who could pass for a college student." I rub my eyes, suddenly wide awake. "You want me to infiltrate Devon's operation? You're our best shot. You've seen how they operate, but they've never seen your face. Not like a uniformed officer would stick out at a campus coffee shop." My heart races at the thought. I'm not a cop. I check IDs at a nightclub, but the memory of Devon's laptop displaying what looked like government building layouts makes me sit up straighter. What would I need to do? 2 days later, I'm sitting in the campus coffee shop Martinez identified as Devon's primary recruitment spot. I'm wearing jeans, a university hoodie borrowed from Officer Chen, and fake glasses. My hair is styled differently, and I've added a temporary tattoo on my forearm for good measure. A wireless earbud connects me to Martinez, who's parked across the street with 3 plainclothes officers. I pretend to study a textbook while nursing an overpriced latte, occasionally glancing at students around me. "Remember," Martinez says in my ear, "if he approaches, act interested but not desperate. Ask questions but don't seem suspicious. We need to know what his endgame is." After 90 minutes of waiting, the bell above the door chimes. I don't look up immediately, but I can feel Martinez's tension through the earpiece. "That's him," she whispers. "Dark blazer, blue shirt, don't stare." I turn a page in my textbook and take a casual glance. It's Devon, looking exactly like he did in the parking garage, confident, professional, scanning the room with purpose. He orders at the counter, then begins moving through the cafe, stopping at tables with solo students, having brief conversations before moving on. When he finally reaches my table, my mouth goes dry. "Mind if I join you for a minute?" he asks, his voice smooth and friendly. I gesture to the empty chair across from me. "Sure, go ahead." He sits down, placing his coffee between us. Up close, I can see the expensive watch on his wrist and the subtle designer logo on his blazer. He looks like a young professor or tech entrepreneur, not someone running an illegal operation. "I'm Jason," he lies easily. "I work with a tech startup that's doing security research on campus. We're looking for students to help with a paid research opportunity. Are you interested in making some quick cash?" I set my book aside, feigning curiosity. "What kind of research?" "We're developing new ID verification technology," he explains, the rehearsed story flowing naturally. "We need to test various card formats at different venues around the city. It's completely legal. We're contracted by these venues to test their security protocols." He slides a sleek business card across the table. It looks legitimate, with the logo of a company called Verify Tech Solutions and his fake name. "The gig pays $100 per venue test," he continues, noticing my interest at the mention of money. "All you'd need to do is visit specific locations, test our proprietary cards on their security readers, and report back the results." "That sounds too good to be true," I say, channeling appropriate skepticism. "What's the catch?" Devon smiles, appreciating my caution. "No catch. We just need a diverse testing pool. Some venues might turn you away. That's valuable data for us. Others might let you in, also valuable. Either way, you get paid." I nod slowly. "What kind of venues?" "Mostly nightclubs, event spaces, some office buildings, places with electronic access systems." He leans forward, lowering his voice. "Look, I know it sounds sketchy, but this is legitimate security research. Companies hire firms like ours to find vulnerabilities before actual criminals do." I'm impressed by how convincing he sounds. If I didn't know better, I might believe him. "I'm in," I say. "When do I start?" His smile widens. "Right now, if you're available. I have some equipment in my car." We walk outside to his black Audi, the same one from the parking garage. Martinez's voice crackles in my ear. "We've got visual. Stay calm." From his trunk, Devon retrieves a small case. We sit in his car while he opens it, revealing several cards and what looks like a smartphone. This is our proprietary scanner, he explains, handing me the device. It's disguised as a phone but contains specialized RFID reading technology. I turn it over in my hands, noting how ordinary it looks despite its capabilities. And these are your test cards, he continues, giving me a Costco membership card and what appears to be a gym membership. Different venues require different approaches. The scanner will record what works where. He opens his laptop, and my breath catches. On the screen is a detailed map of downtown, with dozens of red dots marking various locations. As he zooms in, I can see floor plans of buildings, including what unmistakably looks like the federal courthouse and city hall. These are all our test sites, he explains casually. The nightclubs are just phase 1 low security, perfect for training. The real value is in mapping government building access points. My heart pounds as he scrolls through more layouts. Government buildings? I thought this was about nightclubs. That's where the real money is, he says, his voice dropping. Do you know how much certain organizations would pay for detailed security vulnerability maps of government facilities? Millions. And all we have to do is send in college kids with modified cards to test which readers can be fooled. This is it, the confession Martinez needs. I touch my ear, as if adjusting my hair, our signal that I've gotten what we need. Sounds like a solid business model, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. Devin nods, but then pauses, his eyes narrowing slightly as he looks at me. You know, you ask good questions. Most students just want to know when they get paid. I force a casual shrug, just trying to understand what I'm getting into. His gaze shifts to the rearview mirror, then back to me. Something in his expression changes, a flicker of suspicion. Suddenly, he grabs my wrist, the one with the earbud wire partially visible beneath my sleeve. Who are you talking to? He demands, his demeanor instantly transforming. Before I can answer, he spots the unmarked police car across the street beginning to move. In one fluid motion, he reaches under his seat and pulls out a handgun. You're wired, he spits out, anger flashing in his eyes. I lunge for the car door as Martinez's voice shouts in my ear. Get out now, we're moving in. The coffee shop erupts in chaos as police officers converge on the car. Students scatter, screaming and knocking over chairs. I manage to throw myself out of the passenger door, just as Devin starts the engine. Martinez tackles me to the ground as Devin's car screeches backward, nearly hitting 2 officers. Gunshots crack through the air, officers firing at his tires. The Audi swerves wildly, jumping the curb before crashing into a campus security vehicle that blocks its escape. Officers swarm the car, weapons drawn, shouting commands. Through the shattered window, I can see Devin being dragged out and forced to the ground, his face pressed against the pavement as he's handcuffed. Martinez helps me to my feet, her expression a mix of relief and triumph. You okay? I nod, my heart still racing. He admitted everything. The government buildings, selling access maps, all of it. She squeezes my shoulder. You did good, really good. That's exactly what we needed to hear. As officers secure the scene and terrified students give statements, I watch Devin being placed in the back of a patrol car. Our eyes meet briefly, his filled with cold fury, mine with the realization of just how dangerous this man truly is. What started with a Costco card at a nightclub door has led to uncovering a sophisticated security breach operation targeting government buildings, and somehow, I ended up right in the middle of it all. The morning after Devin's arrest, I'm sitting in Martinez's office, still processing everything that happened. The coffee shop confrontation plays on a loop in my mind, Devin's face changing from friendly recruiter to cornered criminal in seconds, the chaos of the arrest, the gun he pulled. My hands still shake slightly when I think about it. You did good out there, Martinez says, sliding a cup of decent coffee across her desk, a major upgrade from yesterday's station brew. Devin's not talking, but he doesn't need to. We have enough to put him away for a long time. What happens now? I ask. Now we raid his apartment, she grins, tapping a search warrant on her desk. Want to come along? You've earned it. 2 hours later, I'm standing in the doorway of Devin's downtown loft as officers methodically search every inch of the space. It's sleek and minimalist, expensive furniture, high-end electronics, and a wall of windows overlooking the city. Not the typical criminal hideout from TV shows. Holy shit, an officer calls from what appears to be Devin's home office. You guys need to see this. The office contains what looks like a small security company command center. 3 large monitors display building schematics. A wall-mounted board tracks what must be dozens of testers, with names, photos, and assigned locations. But what makes Martinez whistle low under her breath is the equipment: professional-grade card printers, RFID cloners, and at least 20 scanner devices identical to the one Devin gave me. This is military-grade security tech, she says, carefully examining a device, not something you pick up at Best Buy. A tech specialist officer boots up Devin's main computer, password protected, but we'll crack it. Check this out, another officer calls from the bedroom. He's holding a framed certificate and employee ID badge. Our guy used to work for Secure Tech Systems. They're the primary security contractor for half the government buildings downtown. Martinez takes the badge, examining it closely. Looks like he was fired 3 years ago, probably how he knew which systems were vulnerable. As the search continues, a clearer picture emerges. Devin wasn't just some random criminal, he was a security expert who'd been fired for what his termination letter diplomatically called ethical violations. After leaving SecureTech, he'd built his own underground network, using college students as his frontline testers. Look at this, the tech specialist calls out. He's managed to access Devin's email correspondence with someone named Alexei. They're discussing payment terms $5 million for complete access maps to the federal courthouse, city hall, and 3 other government buildings. Martinez leans over his shoulder, reading quickly. Russian organized crime. They've been trying to penetrate government security for years. This is bigger than we thought. By evening, the full scope of Devin's operation is clear. He'd recruited over 50 college students across the city, paying them each $50 per test. The nightclubs were just training grounds, low-risk environments where his recruits could perfect their techniques before moving on to government buildings. The scary part, Martinez tells me as we leave Devin's apartment, is how close he was to pulling it off. Another month, and he'd have had complete access maps to every major government building downtown. The next few weeks are a whirlwind. Blake and several other students are brought in for questioning. Most are terrified college kids who had no idea what they were really involved in. In exchange for immunity, they provide detailed testimonies about Devin's recruitment and training methods. Tessa, it turns out, was one of his earliest recruits. She'd tested over 15 venues using various cards. When shown evidence of what Devin was really planning, her face goes pale. He told us it was security research, she whispers during her interview, which I'm allowed to observe. I never thought. We were just going to clubs. Rico calls me into his office at Velvet one evening before my shift. On his desk sits a sleek black box with the club's logo. This, he says, opening it to reveal a fingerprint scanner, is our new security system. Biometric verification. Impossible to fake. The owners are implementing it at all their properties after what happened. He closes the box and looks at me with newfound respect. They also approved a new position, head of security. I recommended you. I blink in surprise. Me? I just check IDs at the door. You uncovered a national security threat by paying attention to a Costco card, Rico points out. That's exactly the kind of person I want running security. 3 months later, I'm sitting in a federal courthouse, dressed in my best suit. The prosecutor has called me as a witness in United States v. Devin Mercer. I recount everything from the first night Blake showed up with his Costco card to the coffee shop confrontation. Devin sits at the defense table, wearing an orange jumpsuit instead of his tailored blazer. When our eyes meet, his expression remains cold and calculating. He doesn't look defeated, just inconvenienced. When the judge sentences him to 15 years for conspiracy, fraud, and attempted sale of national security information, Devin doesn't react, but as they lead him away, he pauses near me. You know, he says quietly, you would have made a good recruit. You noticed what no one else did. The guards pull him away before I can respond. Back at Velvet, I still check IDs occasionally, old habits die hard, but now I also train our security team to look beyond the obvious, to notice patterns and inconsistencies. The biometric system works perfectly, but I remind everyone that technology is only as good as the people monitoring it. Sometimes, when college students approach with legitimate IDs, I think about how easily Devin manipulated them, how he turned their need for quick cash into an unwitting security breach, how a simple Costco card at a nightclub door almost led to something much more dangerous. And every time I spot something unusual, a nervous patron, a strange ID format, anything out of place, I remember Blake shifting from foot to foot, and I pay very close attention.